Hello and welcome back to my channel. I just want to take a moment to thank you if you've subscribed to my channel and you've been liking my videos. Um, it's a lot of motivation for me and also a little bit of an ego boost, so it's always good. I could use the dopamine. My last video was about people who drain you, and I got a lot of feedback for this because this is something a lot of people have experienced. A lot of people have come across relationships, friendships, family members in their life that they thought were great at the time of knowing them, but later on realized that were not so great, that they've been manipulating and messing with them all this time and have been draining their energy and slowing down their progress. Now, I also went through such realizations, as I pointed out in the last video, and I spent a great deal of time being upset about these past relationships and friendships. I spent far too much time thinking about it, and the resulting rumination really drove me into a pretty bad state of mind. I was blaming other people, I was blaming family members, I was blaming some old friends I used to hang out with, and I was blaming some past relationships too. Then, most important of all, I was blaming myself for making bad decisions or for being stupid, trusting the wrong people, listening to the wrong advice. I was like thinking, how could you be so stupid, Praveer? What were you thinking? You're an idiot. That is not being kind to yourself. Now, you have already suffered because of what happened in the past, and you are already suffering now in the present because of it. So, why should you carry it forward? Why should you spend time blaming other people or even blaming yourself? What is the point? I'm not saying we shouldn't acknowledge what happened. We should acknowledge what happened. We should acknowledge our faults and the faults of others. We should also acknowledge what we did right and what others did right. You should have a clear picture of what happened in the past. But to dwell in it, to keep blaming the past, to keep blaming other people and yourself, I learned that that was a huge waste of energy. You are not really going to change anything in the past by blaming the past. It does not create a magical time travel machine. You can't go back there and change what already happened. No matter how hard you blame yourself for others, it's not going to change. This was a tough lesson for me because I thought blaming myself more than other people, I thought blaming myself was in some way a self induced punishment that will somehow magically fix the bad decisions I made or the mistakes I made. Perhaps that was ingrained to me in my childhood, I'm not sure. But I feel like this is something a lot of people struggle with because, especially in countries like Sri Lanka, in schools and in the home, when you mess up, you get yelled at, or sometimes people used to beat you up. But I don't know if it happens nowadays. As a child, you go through these things. In any case, there's a lot of blame. Like, this is your fault. You did this. Stupid, idiot. Um, what happens is a lot of people carry that with them, and they not so much because of the others who blame them, but they kind of carry it towards themselves. They blame themselves. So all the beating up, all the yelling happens internally. And psychologists call this negative self talk. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to this growing up because I thought negative self talk, oh, such hippie nonsense. Be kind to yourself. A lot of spiritual teachers advise me to do this. Be kind to yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. I was like, no, why should I be kind to myself? I'm lazy. If I'm kind to myself, I'm going to be even more lazy. I don't deserve such kindness. That's how I used to think about myself. So, blaming myself was really easy for the mistakes I've done in the past. Blaming others, even easier. But what I realized over the last year is the more time you spend blaming other people or yourself, the less energy and time you have to make things better now so that you have a better future. So, blame really is a useless thing. I'd rather replace blame with acknowledgement, acceptance. Okay, this happened, this person did this, I reacted this way, it was a bad decision, it was a bad call, and as a result, there was a bad consequence. Now I'm going to make different decisions in the future. Right now, I'm going to do these things to fix what happened if I can. If I can't change what happened, there's nothing I can do about it. I have to accept the reality as it is and move on, regardless of how much I like it or dislike it. I think that is a much more healthier and much more progressive way forward than spending hours and hours just blaming yourself. The world will blame you. The world will always, not always, I would say, the world will criticize you. With the praise comes the blame. With good feedback also comes criticism. But you should not spend too much time criticizing yourself, and you should not spend any time blaming yourself on anything. Instead, acknowledge what happened. Accept that this is your past, and you change your present so that your future can be written in the way you see fit. I wish someone really drilled this point to me when I was younger. I would have spent far less time hating myself, far less time in depression. And I was in some pretty dark places in my past. Maybe I might talk about that in my future videos. As a coach, especially when I coach new people in fighting, a common reaction a lot of people have when they get punched is inspiring. When they get punched or kicked, they go, damn, I got punched. Or they do this. Some people even hit themselves again. And I always tell them, hey, 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 don't do that. Don't hit yourself. Don't react. It's okay, you got hit. So what? Do focus on the next thing. Focus on your move. Focus on your strategy. If you spend time thinking about, oh, I got hit, I'm such a bad fighter, and all that nonsense, that's less time for you to really work on your side of the fight. That's more time for your opponent to take advantage of your state of panic and to win the fight. So stop blaming. Stop blaming others. Stop blaming yourself for things that happened in the past. I'm talking through personal experience. Instead, acknowledge, accept, make decisions, make better decisions, and move forward. Until next time, train hard, train smart. Pragster out.